All right, football fans, welcome into another week of the Daily Reflector's Fearless Football Forecast. I'm Reflector Prep Sports beat writer. I'm gonna get that right one of these weeks.
By the end of the football season, you'll get it right.
By December, I'll be getting it right.
Right on.
I'm Jordan Anders by whatever title, and this is Tony Castleberry.
Yes.
Wearing the same shirt, same color shirt. Totally
did not plan it.
Coincidental.
I just want to say that I actually have the polo logo.
His is better than
mine is official. It's a little bit better, but keep working, buddy. You'll get there.
Mine is the knockoff. I'll get there when I've been here for 15 years. So
I've only been here 10.
Yeah,
but
so we're here this week to break down. We've got 4 games going on, including all 6 Pitt County schools. We got 2 games that are all Pitt County matchups. So
I know.
Excited to be moving on to week 4 because it seemed like week 3 with the rain lasted for about a month and a half.
There's probably a football game going on tonight that we don't know about.
Exactly.
Yeah, that was a weird week. Anytime you have football games, high school football games on Monday and Tuesday,
and the previous Thursday,
I figured Saturday was going to be in there, but ECU opened the season. I think kind of limited that. But yeah, it was a weird week. Let's hope that the weather holds off and every team can play on Friday the way they're supposed to.
Let's absolutely hope that the weather holds off. If it does, like I said, got 4 games. We'll jump to the first one right now. North Pitt and South Central. This is one of the all-county matchups, Tony. This is a North Pitt team that's 0-2 going in against a South Central team that just on Tuesday night, coming off a real short week.
You saw that game, right?
I did. They got their first win of the year. That was a somewhat surprisingly easy 20-point win over Southwest Edgecombe. The Falcons really ran it at them and were able to get a lot of production on the ground and were able to take advantage of some turnovers and played really well. And this is a game last year that the Falcons, they only won 2 games last year. This was one that they had in hand until the final minute when they had a fumble that North Pitt recovered and was able to force overtime.
That's right.
And wound up winning. So that was one of only a couple of wins that North Pitt got last year. But I think, going in this week, like I said, North Pitt 0-2. They're coming off a loss on Monday night to Aiden-Grifton where they hung around and they lost 28-13, but you take out the 2 big 60-yard touchdown runs that they gave up, and it's a 1-point game. So they were right there with the Chargers, but this is going to be a close matchup. I think this is at South Central. The Panthers have to travel, but the Falcons are on one less day of rest. There's all kinds of variables going on.
Yeah. Who do you like?
I like South Central because coming on, like I said, they've got the one less day of rest, but they've got they got a ton of momentum. Those kids were pumped on Tuesday night after getting that first win. I think that's going to carry over and they'll keep North Pitt winless.
Okay, I wanted to pick North Pitt here, and then I saw on the notes that they're not going to have their quarterback Nitrell Chapman. That is to me too big of a hurdle for them to overcome. And you couple that with the momentum that South Central clearly has after getting that first win. Good for Andy, too, and his group, by the way. I think South Central is going to even its record, and I think North Pitt's going to need another week. And if they don't get that quarterback healthy, boy, it could be a real problem because Chapman is a force, as we know. He's really good. But I picked South Central there as well. The next one, another all Pitt County matchup, Farmville Central at Aiden-Grifton, 2 rivals. A rivalry game, even though we're wearing Aiden-Grifton colors, we are not biased. I promise.
Correct.
We like all of the teams, all of the players and coaches involved in this game.
This is Reflector green.
It's Reflector green. It's not Aiden-Grifton green.
Absolutely.
But this one, I've seen wild stuff. I've probably said this on this show at least 5 years in a row. I've seen wild stuff happen at Farmville Central Aiden-Grifton games. I've seen things going on in the stands. I've seen things on the field where players were getting ejected.
Action everywhere.
There's a lot of stuff that usually happens in these games, and I don't think it'll be any different. These teams, not a lot of love lost between them. I think that Farmville Central with that 3-0 record, looking pretty good despite having all those injuries. They've been able to put up a lot of points. The offense has been really clicked into high gear. And I feel like Aiden-Grifton is maybe trying to figure itself out still a little bit. That's something that Paul Cornwell's teams, they use that kind of non-conference portion of the schedule to get ready for league play and figure out just what they do well and what they don't. I think they showed some signs in beating North Pitt that maybe they are starting to turn the corner, at least offensively a little bit. And, even though Farmville Central's 3-0, I think playing in Littlefield is going to help Aiden-Grifton here, and I'm going to pick the underdog, at least by records, I'm going to pick the underdog in Aiden-Grifton.
And that was exactly what I was going to say. Where it's weird to look at a 3-0 team versus a 1-2 team and think that the 3-0 team may be the underdog going in here, especially. But like I said, Farmville Central, they're in a situation where they may have all or none or somewhere in between of their top 3 running backs. They've got injuries all around, but at the running back spot, they've been hit really hard. So I think they'll go in and be able to hang with, like you said, last year at the kind of differing fortunes throughout the year, but yet the game that they played was only a 5-point game.
Right.
So it seems like you kind of throw all that stuff out the window. I think Farmville Central hangs in here, but I'm also taking the Chargers.
Really? I thought that was going to be the one where we differed.
Well, there's still two more to go.
So far we've all picked the same. We picked the same teams all season long. So I'm just saying. Next game, Jordan.
This one is West Carteret at Conley, and West Carteret comes in 2-1. Conley comes in 3-0. Conley comes in off of hammering Washington.
Yeah, they wanted that one.
They did. We talked last week about them, kind of Washington being ripe for the picking for Conley to kind of burst through out of that slump that they've had against them, and they definitely did that. Holt Nailers
44-7 will do that.
Yeah, Holt Nailers 6 total touchdowns is kind of becoming commonplace now. It's like you can't even really be surprised or impressed at it by now.
Yeah.
And this is a game. Conley put up 57 points in this game last year. West Carteret, they've played well, but they're only averaging 20 points a game, a little over 20 points. Conley's averaging 44. I think even if West Carteret's able to find some offense, Conley's going to be able to outgun them and pick up a win here.
I think you're right. I mean, it seems like Ehlers, as good as he is and as good as he has been, and let's not forget the weapons that he has on that team and that offensive line that gives him time to do all those things that he's able to do. That Conley offense, I saw the game they played against Aiden-Grifton where there were 1 million points scored, and he was responsible for a lot of those.
Right.
He just seems to keep it going, as does that offense. I don't see them having a hiccup here at home against West Carteret. I think they'll win pretty easily.
So that's another pick we shared.
I know.
We're getting there.
Believe me, I'm trying to pick teams that I didn't think you would pick. I thought for sure you were going to pick Farmville Central. Scott Gardner's going to have a word with you about that, I'm sure.
I'm sure he will.
If I'm at that game, he'll have a word with me. But anyway, final game, and this one is maybe the most intriguing matchup of the week, in my opinion. Havelock, a really good Havelock team that's 3-0, facing J.H. Rose at home.
Yeah, and this is one that last year was a 49-48 game that Rose scored late and had an extra point where they could have tied the game, and they wound up going for 2 and not getting it at the end. So, a ton of points scored there, and of course Rose is coming off of a game that at this point feels like it was 3 weeks ago, but it was last Thursday night against at Leesville Road where they won 54-48.
Crazy game.
In 3 overtimes.
Right.
I think this is going to be a high-scoring affair, and maybe something that comes down comes down to the wire like it did last year. And Dave Wotecki is going to love this, and that I'm going to pick Havelock here.
Okay. I'm
going to take Havelock coming in on the road, and Coach Wotecki loves when I pick against the Rampants, or when we pick against the Rampants. So I'm going to go out on that limb this week and say, they, like I said, got that win last week, got 6 touchdowns from E.J. Harris, but I think Havelock is playing really well, and I think they're able to pull it out.
That Havelock program has a lot of state championship pedigree. There's no question about that. 3-0 this year, outscoring opponents 113-15.
That's pretty good.
Kind of speaks for itself. Yeah. Those opponents are not great though.
Right.
That the combined record there of those teams they've beaten are 1-8. 2 of them haven't gotten a win yet.
Right.
So the 3-0 record and Havelock, it is what it is there, and I hate saying that, but it is true in this case. I'm going to pick Rose. Okay. So we are going to differ on at least one pick this year. Maybe Coach won't like the fact that I'm picking his team, but I'm doing it, Coach. I don't care what you think.
Well, it'll depend on the result.
And I'm doing it because of E.J. Harris. That kid last week, 32 carries, 250 yards, and 6 touchdowns in that game.
Yep.
We talked about all season, and I've talked with people in the community. How are they going to replace Cornell Powell? How are they going to replace that guy? It's going to have to be by committee. That young man is leading that committee now. Vines is another great player for them. The offense, to me, after that really kind of weird game, that weird loss they had against Laney, I think it was, kind of showing signs of being the explosive offense that it has been for years. So I'm picking J.H. Rose to hand Havelock its first loss and to move to 2-1 on the year.
All right. Well, then we are in agreement on South Central. We're in agreement on Aiden Grifton and Conley, and then I took Havelock and Castleberry took Rose. So we'll
see.
We'll be back next week to see how it works out. Hopefully in different colored shirts.
We're gonna make sure that we don't wear the same shirt.
I'll text you before we.
I'm gonna wear a tuxedo next week.
Well, then you don't have to worry.
It's gonna be sweet.
You don't have to worry about me matching that. So you'll be able to find the results of all of those games in Saturday's Reflector and at reflector.com. You can follow me on Twitter at ReflectorJordan. You can follow him at TCastleberryGDR.
Yes, sir.
And we'll have everything. We'll have you covered on those results. So we'll see you guys next week.